Thank you for viewing Module 7 of our Policy Surveillance Training video series. In this video, you will learn about publication and dissemination. By the end of this video, you should be able to define publishing your project, define disseminating your project, and understand the steps involved in publication and dissemination of a project. Publishing your project consists of releasing your coded questions and responses to your intended audience. Disseminating your project consists of making users and groups aware that your project has been published and providing access to your published project. These are the steps you follow when publishing and disseminating your project. The following slides will detail these 4 steps. The first step in publishing and disseminating consists of planning the dissemination of the project. When planning the dissemination of a project, a team should consider what their goals are for the project's data, how they want the data to be used, who will need this information, how they might use this information, and what the best format to distribute this information should be. Audience and goals are interrelated. The best route for determining how to disseminate your research is to consider who needs the information you've uncovered and how they access information. Only once you've identified your audience can you begin to consider publication outlets. For example, advocates and other institutions may prefer the raw data, whereas a policymaker may want a one-page report or to access the information through an interactive website that walks them through the law and its various components. A worksheet is available in the Related Resources section of this module to help you identify your audiences and how to connect with them. Once you have defined your audience and identified where you plan to publish your data, you may begin to consider the ways you plan to inform them that the data is available. The list on this slide is not exhaustive. In fact, some market research may be valuable to understand the outlets your audiences are already using and how to interact with them. A few examples of possible outlets include publication to a website, social media and blogging, press release and distribution to a media list, press release and distribution to organizations, advocacy groups, or policymakers, or direct outreach through phone calls, emails within your network, or meetings. The second step in publication and dissemination consists of performing final quality control checks. The supervisor should perform one final quality control check before publishing, in which they review all questions, responses, and citations in the project prior to publishing to identify any outstanding issues. For more information on final quality control checks, please see Module 6, Quality Control. The third step in publishing and disseminating consists of finalizing publication documents. This applies primarily to publishing on lawatlas.org. When using the monocle to publish to lawatlas.org, publishing an essential information document, data file, and codebook are mandatory. The data file is automatically generated by the monocle. Publishing a one-page report is optional when publishing to lawatlas.org. The essential information is a description of the project's topic and scope. It describes the purpose of the project and should be succinct and objective. Above, you will find an example of an essential information text as it applies to distracted driving. The research protocol is a document outlining the entire methodology and process for a project, including its scope, measured variables, data collection methods, search strategy, coding scheme, and quality control measures. Policy surveillance aims to measure features of the law in a transparent, replicable manner. The research protocol is essential to meeting that goal because it provides the front-end user with a description of how the project has been created and allows other researchers to replicate this data by describing the methodology for the project. An example and template of the research protocol can be found in Module 7, Publication and Dissemination, under Related Resources. A data file is a spreadsheet that contains the statistical data from a project. If you are using the monocle to conduct your research, it automatically generates data when it is used to code. If you are using an alternative tool for your coding, data must be manually inputted into an Excel spreadsheet once coding has been completed. A codebook should be manually written for each project. Data files facilitate further research, such as other researchers layering project data with related outcome data. For example, someone may want to layer data from a project on distracted driving laws with traffic accident data in the same jurisdictions. An example and template of the data page in Codebook can be found in Module 7, Publication and Dissemination, under Related Resources. When using the monocle to conduct policy surveillance, the data file is automatically generated as seen above. The system will convert the responses to each question into statistical format, where it can be used for analysis. A codebook is a document that defines the variables and values included in the project. It is used in conjunction with the data page to perform analysis or to aid in understanding the research and coding. Writing a codebook consists of listing each question in a project and defining what responses the variable labels in the data page correspond to. For example, for the question, "Is there a state law on cell phone use while driving?" the codebook would list the responses yes and no and indicate what numerical value in the data file corresponds to each response. An example and template of the data page in Codebook can be found in Module 7, Publication and Dissemination, under Related Resources. Above is an example of a codebook for distracted driving laws. The codebook is also used to identify variables which are displayed in the data file for your project. For example, you will see in the above example that question 1, "Is there a state law on cell phone use while driving?" is represented by the variable name ddlaw on the data page. On the data page, questions are shortened into these variables and are listed in the top row of the data page. The final step in this process consists of actually publishing and disseminating your data. Deciding where to publish is based on the target audience, resources available, and the goals of the project. We recommend an online outlet, like lawatlas.org or your organization's website, so the data is readily accessible and may be updated regularly. If you plan to use your data to publish in a scholarly journal, you may want to publish online or externally, or you may choose to only share your data internally with your fellow researchers. When publishing, additional documents or references can be included to provide more information to the front-end user. These include a one-page report that highlights interesting data points from the project, a comparative analysis of the jurisdictions evaluated, relevant law review articles or secondary sources, or a comparative study of the legal data and outcome data. Here you will find a summary of what we have covered on publication and dissemination. To learn more about conducting policy surveillance, please visit the Learning Library at lawatlas.org to access additional modules and resources, including Module 8, Tracking and Updating the Law. Thank you for watching.